We're on what, episode 16?
16. 16.
16 weeks in, bro. We're no longer rookies.
Nope. Veterans.
We are vets.
Does my mic sound like it's giving feedback when I talk or no?
No.
Okay.
No, it sounds
weird.
fine.
Sounds weird on my end, but
Does it?
yeah.
No, I think you're good.
All right.
Sponsors. Handcraft.
Yeah.
An old fat lead.
Fat lead and Adcraft.
Fat? Wait, yeah, that's all right. Oh, man. Come on, people. Y'all better jump on a Sunday night, dude. I know you ain't doing that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's starting to get nice out, though. It's getting nice out and it's staying light longer.
Yep. That is true. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that with the getting nicer out and
it's almost summertime.
Sweet summertime. You a Kenny Chesney guy?
I'm not a big country music guy.
Yeah, I'm not either, man. About as country as I'm going is Nickelback.
Yeah, probably about the same for me. I like older, like Garth Brooks type country, but not really any of the current stuff.
Yeah. What's with the Thunder Rolls?
Okay. Yeah. The Lightning Strike.
Wow.
Garth Brooks got a ton of good songs.
Yeah, he did. He always had some. Yeah, like you said, he's got some good hits.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different. It's just different type of country now.
Yeah, it is, but a lot of those guys are blowing up, though.
Yeah,
a lot of people like it.
It's kind of like rap. Rap is not the same as what it was in the 90s.
Nope,
not even close.
90s rap is where it's at.
Yeah, some OG stuff.
Hell yeah! All right, just want to get rolling.
Yep, whenever you want to go.
All right.
Hit it.
All right. We are Beyond the Scoreboard podcast. Myself, Dustin Coit, and JP Stenda. This is episode number 16 already. So we're flying through these episodes. Good solid 16 weeks in. Yep. And we're hoping to keep rolling for many more. So today it's just me and Stenda on. We have no guest today. So we will be chatting through a bunch of different topics and getting through some stuff here. Like to thank our sponsors. Adcraft with the shirts that I got on. Fat Lead is going to be hooking us up with some stuff, and then encourage everyone to like and follow our page. I know we're up to over 500 followers on Facebook. We keep that rolling and keep that going. So, JP, you got anything for the introductions?
No, I like it, man. 500. We're at the 500 mark. I did see that the other day.
Yeah, we're over that. Yeah.
It's like baby.
12 or something.
We're doing it big, dude. Doing it big.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we can get to 1,000 in another 16 episodes. We'll see. I don't know.
Let's see, man. Hopefully.
See what happens. Real quick, I'm going to give some shout outs here quick. We had Iowa High School had the state track meet this past weekend. Comanche had some relay teams and some individuals out there, and our 4x4 team at Comanche finished 7th in the state.
Nice.
And Tyson Caesar finished 2nd in the state in high jump.
What?
Yeah, he got upset. He jumped 6'7", which is insane. The guy that beat him jumped 6'9" and won it.
Wow.
So, yeah. He's the Drake champion, but got beat out for 2A state. But still, obviously, a really good year nonetheless. And obviously, I golfed with his dad this morning, so obviously he's a little disappointed in not finishing first, but he's got another year to get that under his belt. So shout out to those relay teams and Coach Beal for doing a great job for the track team this year. It's fun to follow. So first topic we're going to kind of go at here, and I know we were off last week due to Mother's Day, so shout out to all the great mothers out there. But there was Austin Rivers came out with a quote or tweet or whatever it was, but he said that he could take 30 NBA players and put them in the NFL right now, and they would start in the NFL. But you cannot take 30 NFL guys and put them in the NBA. So, Stenda, give me some thoughts on what you think on that.
Oh,
I'll
man.
share my stuff there. Bold statement, I think, but
bold and honestly foolish.
okay.
I would say this. I won't disagree that are they athletic enough and those things to be on the football field? Sure. But it like football, you're running through people. Like you are actually physically running through people, and you are, you're not going around people, you're running through them. It's pure strength on strength, where the NBA, it's more skill. Would you agree with that?
I mean, there's skill involved in football too, obviously. Yes. But yeah, I would agree with that overall statement. Yes.
Because basketball, if you don't have to be the strongest guy to be able to shoot a three or shoot a jumper or whatever.
Correct.
But man, I can't. I mean, even if you take LeBron James, 6'9", 250, yes, a physical specimen, but to say that he could go out there and endure the hits like that all game long, number one, for a game, let alone an entire season, not a chance. No way. There's no way those guys in the NBA are able to do that for a long period of time. Then you flip it, reverse it, put the NFL players in the NBA. Well, it comes to skill. And probably a lot of those guys have played basketball. They could probably play. Maybe their skill set isn't obviously like LeBron and all those other guys, but could they hang physically? Absolutely. That. Their strength training is way different than NBA players are doing their strength training. Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, I like what you said. That's a bold statement. I mean, to go any further in depth, it's like they're all great athletes, but to say you could imagine putting Kevin Durant in the NFL.
No, he get broken in half.
Yeah. What position is he going to play anyways?
I don't even know. Like, because if he's a receiver and he comes across the middle, he's dead. If, he can't play line. He's not big enough. Doesn't weigh enough. He's not going to be a running back because he's 6'10". Usually you don't see 6'10" quarterbacks, but who knows? But
you imagine him getting hit by like Fred Warner?
No.
He
wouldn't survive that. That's, like the statement is just kind of like a blanket statement, like he didn't, like how long, like I don't know how long they would maybe be able to play a half of a game or a game, but there's no way, like you said, they could be any longevity at all. I think. There's some in there, some exceptions maybe with some NBA guys, but having 30, that might be a stretch in my opinion. And I don't know if 30 NFL guys could play in the NBA though either. I think the translation, like I think there's probably more NFL guys that could maybe compete in the NBA than NBA guys going to NFL. But I don't know if there's 30. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But like when this came out, they started showing like NFL players highlights, basketball highlights. Like T. Higgins basketball highlights are insane. Yeah. Like he's jumping out of the gym, like throwing down insane dunks. Devontae Adams has a really good. There's dudes that can play.
Yeah,
and you got like you look at like Antonio Gates, for example. He played college basketball, did not play college football, and then got drafted in the NFL, and is, my opinion, maybe a top 5 tight end of all time.
Absolutely,
and never, only played football in high school. So I don't know what could he be played in the NBA? I don't know. He played D1 college, but yeah. So It's very interesting. Obviously, like you said, they're obviously elite athletes, NBA and NFL guys, and there are some that could translate, I'm sure. But I will agree that I think the NBA is a little soft at times.
Oh yeah.
And granted, they play 82 games, which is a lot, but there's also a lot of guys that take multiple games off because they want to rest their bodies and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And I don't think NFL guys are really doing that unless they're really hurt, So, yeah,
Quarterback doesn't take off. I'm taking off week
right.
7, week 10.
Exactly.
And just a different, like the conditioning aspect of, a football play. What's the average football play? Probably like 4 seconds.
Yeah.
4 seconds. And then, the NBA, 48 minutes up and down the court. Yeah. Conditioning wise, completely different. I mean, both of those between NFL and NBA, like you just would have to recondition your entire body.
Yeah.
To even, like you said, for longevity. So maybe he should have said that, what's his name? Austin Rivers, like you said, he just made such a broad statement. It's like, hold on here, man. Like maybe you should like think about how you're going to phrase that, instead of just saying, well, yeah, we could take 30 NBA guys, put them in the NFL, they start. Yeah. As soon as they get shit rocked by Fred Warner or, anybody like that, dude, they ain't getting up. LeBron James isn't, he might get up, but he's seeing stars and he's like, get me to the sideline.
Yeah. And I mean, there's going to be the NFL guys. There's a lot of those guys that are like 6'2", 6'3",
Yeah.
And the NBA guys are 6'8" and above. So the NFL guys, it's going to be difficult to get some shots up if they were, just because of the size difference, height difference. But I think as far as longevity, physicality, I think NFL translates better than NBA translates to NFL.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Here's a question for you as a coach, football coach.
Sure.
So I'm sure you probably have some guys that do football and basketball, and then obviously football and wrestling. What athletes that participate in football or wrestling, who do you think you get them? Who are the better athletes that, do wrestling instead of basketball or basketball instead of wrestling? Do you think is there a margin there, or do you think it equals itself out?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's hard to say because it's obviously different. It's a different skill set, wrestling and basketball. As far as athleticism, I would say I'd lean probably more toward basketball than wrestling. But I mean, there's a lot of like really good wrestlers that don't know how to shoot a basketball. You know what I mean? And then there's a lot of really good basketball players that you put them on a wrestling mat, they have no idea how to do a single leg or double leg takedown. You know what I mean? So like, the translation's obviously different, but if you're looking at just pure athletic standpoint, I mean, maybe lean a little more that way. But I've seen really good athletes on a wrestling mat too. But I don't know. I respect both.
100%.
And I mean, I tell football kids, if you're not gonna play basketball, you need to try to wrestle. If you're not gonna wrestle, try to play basketball. Do something. But and I know it's not for everyone, either one of those sports, but yeah.
You think between one of those sports, those two, they would find you could get something out of either one.
Oh yeah. And I mean, obviously, I think wrestling probably helps you more for football than basketball, as far as tackling and the obviously physicality, the mental aspect, and that kind of stuff. But not that basketball doesn't have those either, but wrestling has more of that, I think. So
yeah, I agree with that 100%. But that's it. I don't know. That was I did see that Facebook video of him talking about it, or the quote or whatever. It's like you should the comments. It was like sometimes like you wonder if it's just like either they do it because they're like, yeah, I make a bunch of money and you're going to get mixed emotions, or like I'm such a conspiracy theorist person. I'm like, they just plan it. It's kind of like the Harrison Bucker thing. It's all planted. Like, so something every so often, something's got to spark outrage or dividers or whatever.
Well, when he made that quote, there was like NFL guys that were like they're creating a list of like Dan Orlovsky, the ESPN guy. He created a 30 NFL players that can play in the NBA, and like within like 2 hours of that being posted, and then he posted it. But
Well, and him, God, out of all people, he's entertaining to watch. But dude, you ran out of the back of the end zone, man. Like,
he did. He
yeah,
did do
like,
that.
shut up, dude.
And he
Like,
did you see the bit where he farted in one of his
yeah,
interviews?
yeah, yeah. Like,
That was good.
dude, come on, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. All right, you got anything else on that comparison? You good?
No, I
All right.
like it. It's a good topic though,
Yeah.
because I think you go forever about it. But you know what they should do? They should do like a charity game or something like for NBA, like at the end of the season when it's all said and done, NBA's done, NFL's done, and get 15 guys for both sides and have like a 5-on-5 game, or whatever, and see how it
Pretty
pans
cool.
out and just be like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah, but how would you do you'd have to do like a 7-on-7 game to do like NBA with, or Ryan Jordan says flag football. You'd have to do like flag football for that. You know what I mean?
oh
Just with
yeah.
the NBA guys going NFL wise, but yeah.
Just let him put the no let like Kevin let that Austin Rivers put on pads,
He don't
dude.
even play anymore. But yeah, it'd be interesting for sure.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
All right. We'll dive into our next topic here. I think JP's a little passionate on this, so
Oh yeah, this is a good one.
so
Yeah.
we wanted to hit on this a little bit. So we're going to talk a little bit about we're going to focus on like high school teachers and high school coaches, and as far as the pay that they get, the stipends that they get, and that kind of stuff. And we'll talk a little bit about the new legislation. I always have problems saying that word, but the new laws that Governor Reynolds has passed for the state of Iowa, and how that's all going down. So, Stenda, if you want to shoot and give some thoughts on the teacher coaches pay for high school and your beliefs on that, and then we'll roll with it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we got some teachers on here watching. So obviously I think, you got to really kind of dissect it. You got to start with what the profession requires off the bat, which requires what? A 4-year degree. And,
Correct.
and that's not going to change. That's never going to change. They're making obviously different alternative routes for people to already have a bachelor's and a education degree to obtain that. But I think my biggest thing since day one, when I went to college 18 years ago, is that margin, like the requirement to be a teacher and how long you have to be there for 4 years minimum. 18 years ago, they wanted, they'd like a master's degree, all these things. The tuition is just astronomical, just keeps going up. The pay has never, and I get it, it's not going to be able to be necessarily what it's going to cost a 4-year student to obtain that degree and then teach. But how can you require a profession that's so important to our society? How can you require somebody, just let's say the average Joe, like me, went to college, I got some financial aid, but I still paid, in 18 years ago, I ended up with like $65,000 in student loan money. Now that was at a private school, but there's not a lot of, besides Iowa, Iowa State, UNI, and Iowa, there's, 3 major colleges. Everyone else is private. Warburg, Ambrose.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me now that, there's probably kids coming out of college with 120 grand in debt to go into a job that requires so much during the year, outside of regular school hours, the summertime, which we can get into that too. People say, oh, they only teach 9 months out of the year. Bullshit. We all know that's bullshit. Anybody that knows teachers knows that's not true. And you're going to pay them $40,000 a year to be a teacher and say, thanks for everything you do, but we'll pay you 40 grand, but you owe your school 120 grand in student loan debt. I mean, it just, to me, it's like, it's just backwards. And I firmly believe, I'm glad what Reynolds has done to implement that. That's a good start. I don't think it's where it needs to be. And hopefully that's just a starter point for her. People have different opinions about her. if I don't know I don't follow anything about her. However, I will say, hey, good for her to implement that minimum requirement or salary as it should be. But I mean, man, they wonder why nobody wants to teach, because why would you want to go to a mass amount of debt and only make 40 or 45 grand a year when you know what the housing market's like, what the cost of living is, but you could go work at a factory and have a GED and make 80 or 90 grand to start off. Like kind of like the risk and reward.
Yeah.
You can say you love, oh, you can only say so much to teacher. Oh, you're doing a great job. We're so thankful for you. Guess what? I'd rather have somebody thank me by saying, hey, we're going to pay you what your worth is, and we're going to take care of you. You don't need to tell me, hey, you did a great job. Yeah, I'm doing my job. Now, take care of it by taking care of that profession. I don't think they do a very good job of taking care of what you guys do. So that's kind of what I think about, at least the pay. I mean, in general.
Yeah. No, I mean, you hit that on the head pretty well there. And then Megan Hall commented, she said, and pay for your own classroom supplies, which, yeah. I mean, the
No
school
joke.
does pay for some stuff, but as far as ours, but there's been times where I've bought things for, I mean, not only my classroom, but as well for, football or whatever for the kids too. So, um, but yeah, so the whole new law or new pay rule, I guess, that Governor Reynolds passed in the state of Iowa. So if I don't have the numbers in front of me and I keep forgetting what it is, but um, I think first year teachers are starting out at like 47.5, I believe it is 47,500. And then when you've had at least 12 years of experience, you bump up to like 62,000. And then it kind of, from there, I think it kind of depends on the school district as far as what the increase will be each year, because each school has different types of increases that they get,
The pay scales or
the pay
whatever.
scale and all that and whatnot. So um, I personally, as a teacher, I think it's great. And I also, what the other good thing it is about being in Comanche is I've been in Comanche for 11 years now, and there's just a lot of turnover with teachers because Comanche is one of the lower paying districts around here.
Yeah,
So teachers move on to other school districts that are going to get paid more money. And
absolutely.
DeWitt pays more, Northeast pays more, Clinton pays more, any school in the cities pays more. So like once they get a job offer or they apply for it and get an offer, they're going to take it, So I mean, I personally love Comanche, so I haven't looked. I don't plan on looking for other jobs. And now with the new increase, this definitely puts everybody on kind of like the level playing field,
Yeah,
So then now I think Comanche is a little more. It's Did I cut out?
yeah, you're good. Keep going.
Okay.
No, yeah, you cut out for a
Um,
minute. Yeah,
so it puts everyone on, I don't know where you last heard, but I said it puts everybody on a level playing field.
yeah,
So Comanche is a little more attractive because, well, they're a first year teacher at Comanche is making the same as a first year teacher in Southeast Polk, Iowa, one of the largest school district in the state. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
their base salary could be higher. I don't know.
Hmm.
But it kind of adds to that. Um, so I think it's great as far as teachers go, and hopefully that kind of attracts more people getting into teaching as well. And I know obviously people, as Tanner Weber said, takes a special person to be a teacher and set a student up to be a successful human being in society. And I know that's not for everyone either. So, but yeah, I think it's great. I personally am going to benefit greatly from it going into next year
Right.
as far as the raise goes, because
Yeah.
I'm in that 12-year range. So, um, I'm very excited. You got me? Were you cutting out
Yeah.
there?
You were
Something
cutting
going on.
out.
My internet. I don't know why my internet's being weird, but and then internet issues in 16 weeks, and all of a sudden I'm going out.
Dang.
But yeah, like I said, I don't know what was the last thing you heard that I said there.
No, just being excited that, where
Yeah,
you move up in that bracket.
yeah, for sure.
Well, I think so here's my, and again, so, and this, maybe some people will be like, they'll be for or against it, but, I hear, people, they always talk about like these professions that are so important. And they say, we need the right people. And it's crucial, when you hire them and you do their background and they have the qualifications and skills, you know, it's so important, yet they offer so very little. Like, it's like I said, it's backwards. That 62 number to me, 62 would be a great entry level starting pay for a teacher coming out of
Yeah,
school. That the bottom line is the market for education, law enforcement, fire, all that. It's not what it was 12, 15 years ago. That's why there's a mass exodus of teachers and they're leaving their districts. They're getting out of teaching in general because they're like, it's not worth all the BS in the school. When if you don't have support from your administration, I'm not saying you guys don't have that. I know Comanche
oh, we,
does,
we do. Yeah,
but there's a lot of administrations that don't. You have a lot of people, they don't back the teachers when they make a decision in the classroom or the things that they need to get done to be like, get a kid going in the right direction for what? So you can, yeah, I went to school for 4 years and I've got 100 grand in debt. Well, you just do it because you care about people. I care about people too, but guess what? I'm not doing my job for 30 grand a year.
yeah,
And if they said they were going to, I'd be like, bye, see you later. It's not about that. It's always been the stigma for so long. You do it because you care about people. I think you would agree with this, Coach Coit. 99.9% of the people that wake up every day care about other people. And
yeah,
and they want to help them, they want to uplift them, they want to make a difference. But are people going to do it for penny candy in a profession that is a very, important one? To me, it's like, well, they wonder why. Like at some point, and hopefully this is step in the right direction for legislator and people finally saying like, yeah, we've got a problem here. We've got to go back and redo this so we don't have this issue. Because if they don't, what's to say in 5 years, like, if you guys keep leaving the profession
yeah,
for X, Y, and Z, they're going to have to start hiring people that, what if they do? What if the state of Iowa has to change what the requirement is to be a teacher? Maybe you only need a 2-year degree and go through a teacher prep program. Maybe they change those things because they're like, we don't have people to do it. And then they're just putting bodies. And that's the worst thing you can do is put bodies in a position that's that important.
yeah, yeah. Warm body's not always a good thing. That's right.
No.
Yeah, and I mean, I know. I mean, I've been teaching for 15 years now, and I don't know how many times I've heard someone say, "Oh, well, you don't work for 2 or 3 months of the year. You have the summers off or whatever." And yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm also doing other things with football during the summer and stuff like that. But I mean, it's not a full time job as far as that goes. But I always kind of so they're like, "Oh, well, you're getting paid accordingly because you're only working 10 months a year." And I'm like, well, I mean, maybe, but also any other like profession, I mean, everybody has like vacation time. You know what I mean? Like some places have up to like 8 weeks of vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, most places are, I think, like probably 2 to 4 weeks. But I know, I know some people that have like upwards to like 6 or 8 weeks of vacation. So if you figure that, that's also 2 months where you don't have to work. You know what I mean? I mean, it's
Yes.
not 2 months in a row. I get it, but it's the same concept, it's the same amount of time if you look at it that way. So, I don't know, but
100% on
and,
it. Well, you're
and
right, because say you get like I get 4 weeks vacation, plus I get 10 holidays. Well, 10 holidays will be what? Another 2 weeks.
yeah,
So that's 6 weeks. And then you're not including like comp time that I earn, which I can convert, which is additional time off. Obviously, sick time and stuff that might be a little
right.
different,
That's different.
but
Yeah.
you're right. It is the same concept. And I don't, that's kind of just like a myth, and they're like, yeah, you work, 9 months out of your 10 months. It's like, dude, but what goes into it and what the requirements are for you to obtain that degree
Yeah.
and to, your in-service training that you have to do to keep up with your license. dealing with the parents,
Well,
dealing with the administration.
in the like every 5 years, we have to up our certificate, our license or whatever, right? And we like most teachers have to pay for that out of their own pocket,
Right.
and that stuff isn't getting cheap anymore either. So, um, I mean, there's some stuff you can do that is pretty cheap, but there's also a lot of teachers that like take classes and stuff, and that's some of those are like 500 to $1,000, like
Yeah.
so. We're doing that every 5 years, and there's not a lot of other professions where I think there could be, but I don't think there's a lot of other professions where every 5 years you got to pay to to basically keep your job and to keep your license and your authorization or whatever it may be. So, and I know professions that are doing stuff to get better or maybe work their way up a pay scale and stuff like that, but most of them aren't paying for stuff every 5 years.
No.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
yeah. So
why should you have to better yourself in your profession if they want you to enhance your knowledge, your ability to educate your kids? Why should you have to pay for it?
I don't know.
It's
Good question.
mind-boggling. You already had to do that to go to college for 4 years to do all those things, like, and I get it, that's part of the process, but like I said, I'll go back to like my profession. If they were like, "Hey, we want you to do this. We send you to this class for a week, but you're gonna have to pay the $2,000." I'd laugh at them and say, I'm not doing it. Like
Yeah.
it's I want to better myself, but that's the whole point is the employer has to invest in the employee. And then in return, they hope that the employee invests in them. And I think for a long time, it's been the opposite way for as a whole. Well, you invest in us and then maybe we'll invest in you. It's like, no, that's not the era that we're in, the generation anymore. People did it before because the market was a lot different for jobs and careers. People weren't making those moves. Now it's like, hey, it should have been this way the whole time. You wonder why people are bouncing ship. Why wouldn't you go if somebody poached you and said, dude, you be the head football coach. You only got to teach 4 classes a day and we'll give you a $20,000 pay increase. That's, that's hard. That's hard because that's what people do now.
Oh, yeah.
They poach good employees. And why wouldn't they? And why wouldn't you jump ship?
Yeah. 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 It's like, it's like free agency in any sport,
Yeah.
like whoever has the highest price they're going to go to usually. So I haven't had that offer yet. So shut up.
Some will poach you down there.
Not yet. All good. And then kind of go with the teacher pay thing. Obviously, you also, and you obviously know kind of how this works a little bit since you coached a little bit, but you have the coaches' stipends too. And usually that's based off of whatever the district's base salary is, and then each coach gets a percentage of the base salary as far as their starting point and all that. So, I mean, every school is different, but that also the stipends aren't like to be a head football coach. The stipend that I get is I've never figured out what I make hourly off of that, but it probably is less than $1
Yeah.
as far as the time I put in throughout the year and what I'm getting paid. But again, like I don't want to like sound like I'm complaining about the money that I
No.
make because I'm not. We're just bringing it to people's attention and how it works. And again, I think a lot of teachers and coaches like we're not, I mean, this wasn't something I'm like, oh, I'm going to make so much money doing,
Right.
I knew that going in. And
Yep.
the main reason I went into the teaching because I'm be honest, I knew I wanted to be a coach.
Yeah.
I didn't
100%.
know what if I wanted to be a head coach, or anything like that at the time, but I knew I wanted to coach and I knew I could do some teaching along with it. And I mean, I think I made a good decision. I really like teaching too, and I like coaching, and I got into it for those reasons and not the money. So um, if it was about the money, I wouldn't be doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So again, I don't know if I was coming off that way, so I don't want to sound
No.
like I am because I'm not. But yeah, I think those stipends aren't, I don't know. I don't know if those I don't think the like governor can do anything about raising those, but
Right.
that's just all up to the school districts and what they can afford and pay and whatnot. So,
And I get to like you know, like there's a difference between hiring and retention. You should be, as a whole, people should be focusing on retention, right? That people aren't leaving, not when someone leaves. We have 7 people leave this year. They're all leaving for the same reasons. Who are we going to hire? How many times have you heard that? Well, who are we going to hire? It's like,
yeah.
pump the brakes. It's not about who you're hiring. It's about the retention issues. That look, these people are leaving for the same reasons, and then you're going to go hire 7 more people and still do the same things that you were doing before. So it's just going to be a revolving door until you figure it out, until you finally say, like the coaching part. I get, you could probably obviously attest to this as the head football coach. I mean, it's so important to have, good quality coaches at the lower level, just as much as it is at your level. I mean, again, if you're just focusing on hiring, put a body in there, those kids don't get what they're really there to get out of it.
Right.
And they're never going to develop them at the level that you want them to be developed.
Agree. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right. Tanner Weber's comment here, like he says, the IPERS is a great benefit of the state, but the money needs to be there for us to raise successful children and get the education they need. Well, I agree with that too. Yeah, IPERS is an awesome thing for sure. But yeah, that money needs to be there for education first and foremost, obviously. So, and getting the kids what they need for sure.
Like give them lunches, like, like stuff like that. It's like, man, it's when I see that stuff on the, oh man, we're not going to pay for these kids, these kids. I'm like, dude, you talk about like, where did it go like that sideways? And I know it's kind of tough, because of your profession to maybe speak on it, wholeheartedly, but it's like, I mean, as a person, when you see like, yeah, this school district voted to not pay for the lunches, these kids that are at a deficit economically, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
So
crazy.
I'm not sure. Like you're saying that schools aren't paying for. What do you mean?
No,
There's
I saw
schools
like
that aren't paying for the lunches.
yeah, no, you remember like the thing that Reynolds had, like where they could have like the free and reduced lunch.
Right.
And it was like, then they vote on it. Maybe I'm wrong, but they had the opportunity. They were, the kids, it's reduced, but they could have just picked up the bill where those kids
Oh,
aren't
okay.
having to pay anything,
Gotcha.
and it's,
Yeah.
these kids already struggle enough. It's not the kid's fault. And even for the parents, like everybody's just struggling. We're all struggling in general. And they're like, yeah, you got to, whatever surplus the budget is for the state of Iowa. I'm like, you're talking about like, we're talking about trying to get teachers pay up, but there's kids that come to school that don't even have enough money to, didn't Megan Hall said, yeah, our district didn't opt in. Wow. Kids that can't even eat, they don't even have food, and they can't even afford it. Like,
I don't understand why a district wouldn't do that.
I don't either.
What do those kids do that can't afford it then? How do they eat lunch?
I don't know if
What's
it's
the answer to that.
I don't know. And then again,
Maybe
that's why I want to go.
Hall knows. I don't know, but
maybe she does know.
I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting to me. I mean, I guess I didn't. I don't know. I don't know if it's a bad thing, but I guess I don't pay that close attention to. I know we have free and reduced lunch.
Yeah,
I know. Obviously, there's kids on it. I'm pretty sure we grant it. So, yeah, that's a whole nother avenue right there. But that's very interesting. Very good stuff there. You got anything you want to add to that, Stinda? It's good talk.
No, I kind of figured this one, obviously
I got to be a little careful, but
100%. I agree. But I think people, at least from what you said, I don't think anybody, number one, thought that you were coming off like, number one, the stipend. Like, that's not how people perceived it. I mean, it's just the bottom line is like, just being honest. It's like, if we don't address the actual elephants in the room or the things that are going on, nothing ever gets changed. And that's where it is nothing ever gets changed. So it's like, well, we can say like, well, we need to do better. It's like, well, what are you going to do better? Like
Right.
everybody's always says like, well, like the pay there. It's like, well, yeah, I get it. You're right. Like some of those districts, maybe they just don't have the money due to enrollment and those things. But I'm sure there's other areas and stuff they can cut or maneuver money within the budget, to do certain things. Now, maybe that's more in
Yeah.
depth than I think it is, but I don't know.
That's interesting. All right. So Megan Hall says families have to do paperwork. If they make a certain amount, then kids qualify for free or reduced lunch. Otherwise, it's full price. Okay. Yeah. 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 But I was confused. And if like they don't pay for it, like if they don't, the
Yeah.
school doesn't pick it up. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. I got you. Thank you, Megan, for explaining.
That's my neighbor.
It's your neighbor. Nice.
Yeah. She's cool.
Cool. Good deal. It's good to have cool neighbors.
Yeah, that's right, man.
The next topic we got to go into, and this has been catching a lot of heat too over the last couple of days, is Harrison Butker's commencement speech at Benedictine University.
Oh, baby.
So obviously, I know Stinsabom. A lot of he said a lot of things in his speech. I don't know if you listened to it or not, but so one of the things he's catching a lot of heat with is the comment he made about, I'm just going to read it because I have it right here in my hand, but it says he wants to speak directly to you briefly because I think it's you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now about to cross stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you're going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. Okay. So me reading that to you, pretend, I interpreted it one way. It got kind of interpreted as women should only stay at home and be, stay-at-home moms or homemakers. Because then he went on and said something about his wife started living her vocation through having a family and all that stuff or whatever. And then obviously she can afford to stay home because her husband is an NFL kicker and is making a crazy amount of money. So it's a different situation, obviously. But where would you stand on that comment and how did you interpret it? And I'll share my views.
On just that comment alone, here's what I say. Why even who proofread his?
Honestly, I think he just wrote this and didn't have. I think he's just like, this is what I'm going to write. I'm going to do it and let it go. He's a super intelligent dude.
Yes,
you can hear him talk. Like he's on it. But man,
let's have this since it's just you and I. So here's what I thought about it when you put this agenda together. And then I was thinking about the Colin Kaepernick part. And I'm probably going to catch flack from both sides here on Kaepernick and do it. But I hope everybody that's watching will be like, no, I'm in the, when I say the middle, I'm treating them both fairly. Now, we'll start with Colin Kaepernick because this is how this is what it's getting compared to. What Colin Kaepernick, he had every right to do what he wanted to do. He did not break any laws. He had a hard opinion on it. That was his stance. Freedom of speech under the First Amendment. And you know what? Whether you agree to disagree with how Kaepernick, what he did, it's irrelevant. Because guess what? It was his opinion. It was his stance. You can agree to disagree or not support it or support it. But I think at the end of the day, you have to respect what he did because that was his stance and he spoke on it. Now, he knew there was going to be backlash. And I think, do I think it was wrong he got pushed out of the NFL? I do. Now, people might unfollow me on Facebook. I don't care. He did. He got pushed out for speaking his mind and his opinion. We should be able to do that. He didn't make any threats towards anyone, anything like that. He didn't break any laws. There were people that were for it and people against it. And the same thing with Harrison Butker. Now, I don't support what Harrison Butker said, anything in that speech, or do I support it? Just like Colin Kaepernick. But I respect the fact that if that's what they truly think and that's the way they wanted to do it, they were well within the realm of doing that. It's not against the law to hurt people's feelings. And when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, again, you either support it or you don't. You're for it or
Yeah.
against it. So, you know what? I could say I didn't support it. I wouldn't have done that, but I respect the man for speaking up for what he felt was right and he needed to get his point across. Now, Bucker, again, like it's kind of a little bit different where you're talking about women, like you said, stay home and be a homemaker and, it's like, if that's what you really think, but at the end of the day, if you really think about it, you and I watch sports just for the sports, right?
Right.
Because we love what they do on the field. We don't know them personally. We don't associate with them. Those views of those stance, we might be like, I would never hang out with that guy or interact with them, but I love what they do on the football field. I just think at the end of the day, it's like they both spoke their mind. There's going to be mixed emotions, and then they have to deal with that. And Butker is getting the backlash for it. So whether the league kicks him out, whatever, it is what it is, man. Like,
So, yeah, I mean, he obviously said some stuff he probably shouldn't have said. But that quote that I read, I mean, the way that I interpret it. Okay, so there's women out there, and this is unfortunate, but there's women out there that can't have children, like either physically, reproductively, whatever, right? So some of those women obviously are like, well, what about the women that can't have kids?
right.
And some women don't ever want to have kids. So whatever. But I don't think he was like trying to say like, hey, you can't work, women shouldn't work and should just stay at home. Cause I think what he was saying is like the most satisfying thing that a woman is going to do possibly is have a family, have kids and raise their kids. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like some people are interpreting it other ways. That's how I interpreted it. And I was talking about this last night with Mitch and Steve and my wife. And um, like if you told any woman that has a family that like, hey, tomorrow you have to either give up your job or you give up your family. I'm probably 99.9% of women are going to probably give up their job if they had, if they had to choose one or the other.
Yeah.
I would think and hope, so I don't know. I don't think, do I agree? Like, I don't think, and there's some women, obviously, as Tanner Weber said in his comment here, like they can't afford to live on, have
Right.
one income. That's just
Right.
not the way it works. It does for Harrison Butker and his wife because Harrison Butker makes millions of dollars,
Yeah.
right? So, it doesn't work for everybody. So, um, that kind of stuff, I don't know. And then, the other comments, like he hit on like gay pride, and I was like, just not a good look for him to say that stuff. I mean, there's obviously stuff you can leave out, but I talked about like men and being masculinity and coming from a kicker, like what, what are you doing? But he had some interesting takes for sure, and I don't think my wife said, she brought up a good point. She said, I think just the way our society is, this is going to cause like a lot of famous people, athletes, to not want to speak publicly anymore
Yes. 100%.
because no matter what they say, there's always somebody that was like, "Oh, I can't believe Harrison Butker said that women should be happy raising a family." You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? Like what? And then there's people that are obviously supporting him, and he just sold the most jerseys. He's the highest selling jersey guy right now in the
Yeah.
NFL. Like, so it's all over the place. It's just basically cancel culture, really. The way our society is and the way it works is people are easily offended, and um and then basically everything's just split in half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think me and you were talking like nobody can agree to disagree anymore.
No.
And like me and you can agree to disagree. And, I might still hate you, but I'm joking. I don't hate you,
Yeah. No, I got you.
but,
Yeah.
uh, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to like, oh, Stinda's an idiot or
Yeah.
can't believe he doesn't agree with me, like, and then people are going to believe whatever they want to believe. Like I could probably convince someone that the shirt I'm wearing is blue and it's
Yeah.
definitely red. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way we live. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's frustrating. And
Well, like you said,
should
I
he have
think
said some of that stuff? No, probably not, especially in that platform. Um, but yeah, it was interesting. I mean, it is free speech, as Megan Hall said, but there's
she
certain
makes
things.
she does make a good point, like, and I think that's kind of what I was getting at, when we were talking to begin with, it bombarding the opinions and backlash. Like I said again, like I think you and I both, everybody could say we've had some people we were acquaintances with or friends with that have had some very strong views or opinions on things that we were like, maybe you're like, man, I'm kind of offended by that. Or you're like, maybe, and then maybe that takes you back away from that friendship or whatever that may be. I think, again, like it's more of like, you know, do I like again, do you support him? I mean, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like the bottom line is at the end of the day, you have that right to say, I don't support, like I said, I don't support what he said. And I listened to it a couple times. I'm like, no, I don't. I didn't read it necessarily as like, yeah, the woman stays home, but the way the words were written down and he said them, I'm like, hey man, like, do you really think that way? Or it's maybe just the way he worded it. Nonetheless, there's a lot of people they're going to be like, what the hell, dude? And and again, like when you're prominent like that in the community and a athletic sport like that at the highest level, like you said, everybody's watching and listening. And that it's either going to be hurtful to you or helpful. And to me, it's like I think they, like in his case, like maybe better choice of wording or leave, like you said, leave things out. But at the end of the day, I looked at like the Kaepernick situation, and again, there were a lot of people that disagreed with Kaepernick. I'm not saying I supported it or that I was in favor of it. However, he was well within the realm of doing and saying what he wanted to do. And it is what it is. So you either agree to disagree or you don't associate with that anymore. You don't support it
Yeah.
because it's not like when we hear these people say these things, we have a personal relationship with them. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you said to me, hey man, I think the woman she should cook and clean and do all that, I'm not going to be your friend. You
Get
know
in the
what I mean?
kitchen.
Yeah. I'd be like, Coit, hey man, we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You would still be my friend.
well,
You just wouldn't agree with what I'm saying. Like you know what I mean? Like, right?
well, I would
Or
still
would you not be my friend if I thought like that?
to be truthful, I mean, if I had a friend that I was close with and I associated with, and they're like, and I knew like they were treating their wife that way at home, like, yeah, that's your only job. It would be hard for me as a
Yeah.
person, just individually, to be like, that's what you think is that a woman should just cook and clean and do as your servant? Nah, man, like, because that to me, it can tell about what that person is as a whole. Yeah, it's not against the law or anything like that, but it's like it's kind of very like one-sided, like, dang, that's what you think. Cause like to me, I think we always talk about everyone being equal.
Yeah.
How hard is it to be like men and women? Let's just like you said, everybody's on the same playing field. And again, a woman can make more money than a man and vice versa.
Yeah.
We all offer great things to as men and women. Why can't we just value those things as individuals and say, who cares if you're a male or a female? We all offer a lot of great qualities to society. And, but I don't
Yeah.
know. If
My
I'm
wife.
Harrison Bucker, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that, but
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. He just, but I don't know. As far as, and there was I think I saw it on Twitter or X, sorry. And there's like a petition out there that had already had 30,000 signatures to get Harrison Bucker booted from the NFL. No pun intended with him being a kicker, but I mean, some of the stuff he said, yeah, he shouldn't have said, but it still has free speech, right? And
Yeah,
I don't
100%.
think
Yes.
I don't think he really did anything to grant him getting booted from the NFL. But you could also maybe argue Kaepernick didn't really either. So, but
That's, I guess, my point
it's,
there. What you hit that on the head, though. I mean, truthfully, is that yes, did he I think you have to look at it. Did Colin Kaepernick really deserve to be blackballed from the NFL, not able to sign back? I mean, and again, just my opinion, no, he did not deserve that. He didn't do anything. It's no different than Harrison Butker. And it's not. He didn't break any laws. He didn't
yeah.
make any. Dude, the guy spoke up. Whether you agree with it or not, it's like, hey, in the NFL, did they decide to choose to not let him back in, or well, he's just not. Whatever their reasonings are, I don't think a guy's career his career should not have ended because of that. And if
Well,
Harrison Butker does get booted out, I mean, it is what it is. We've already seen it happen. So, I
well,
mean,
how many, so you, like how many people, how many players in the NFL have done something illegal and have possibly been arrested and they're still playing in the NFL? You know what I mean? So that's kind of the other issue there too. Like you said, none of these guys did anything illegal.
no.
Um,
I mean, you're
yeah,
talking about domestic violence and sexual assault, and there's,
yeah,
and guy, it's like, the playing field just has to be even for everybody, and that's what it comes down to is, okay, so I'm not saying again, for Kaepernick, they use that, I guess, as the example. Well, Harrison Butker, you went down that road, so be prepared for that to happen.
yeah,
If it does, I'm not going to feel bad for him. I'd be like, dude, you spoke up. A lot of people are listening. You chose to go that route. But then, yeah, you have people that are commit domestic violence, beat their wives. They're still playing in the NFL.
right.
But, I mean, so they did something illegal. They're still playing, but Colin Kaepernick didn't do anything illegal. He just didn't agree with it. And a lot of people were upset. Let's kick him out. I think there's an issue there. There's a much bigger issue than,
Yeah,
you know, that's just a strong opinion on my part. Again, I don't care if people don't agree with me or they think I'm an idiot. It's just my opinion. I don't care if they agree or disagree with it. You know what I mean?
yeah. You I wonder how many people are going to unfollow you on Facebook tonight. Now.
I try to be a very even, keel. It's like,
Yeah, we're gonna be below 500 followers
yeah,
now. Thanks, Stinda.
they're not
Jeez.
following us.
Oh, we got to work our way back up. Dang.
Uh,
Um.
Gotta find a new partner.
Yeah. No kidding. Um. Tanner Weber said, "Hey, some people are colorblind." When I was talking about the shirt color, but Megan Hall, I think it's appropriate for NFL to say his opinion doesn't reflect that of the NFL, but not be blackballed. I think the NFL did come out and make a statement like that,
Yeah.
where they said like his opinions don't express what we believe in and all that stuff. So, but yeah, all right,
But before we move, I got
yeah,
a question for you. Like,
sure,
say, and this is maybe it's not the same because it's at high school football, but kind of the same, you know, scenario. What if you had like even just a guy you had on your football staff, teacher or not? What if he made comments on Facebook, whether it was, in relation to race, religion, all those types of things. What if they said something that was controversial and, a small community that blows up very easily, right? You know, uh, uh,
yeah.
you know, imagine, if you had somebody do that, like, how do you handle that? Like, what would the school district, would they be like, shit, like, we got to get rid of this guy or, well, we got to bring him in.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it would depend on. I mean, I guess first of all, it depend on like what they are like, where their stance is, what are they saying, and if they're saying it about like an individual student athlete or you know what I mean, or an individual like administrator, like who are they going at type thing. You know what I mean? I think that would you'd have to start there. Like if they're like bashing a administrator on Facebook, probably gonna need to step in and and definitely have a conversation about it. And then maybe if it's another controversial take on what the school's doing and things like that, there's certain things that like coaches and teachers shouldn't post on Facebook or say publicly, you know. So I don't know. I guess it would depend on what like the avenue was or what the controversial take actually was before you would just be like, oh, you can't teach or coach here anymore. You know what I mean? I don't know if that
Right.
answers your question or not.
I guess it's pretty broad.
Yeah, it was yeah. So
I don't know. It's tough. You know,
um,
it's always tough to have these combos right now because a lot of
yeah,
people don't want to have it, but it's like, well, again, it's all just opinion. I mean, nothing that you or I say, it's just an opinion of like, well, what do we think of the situations? It's like I said, I would say openly to anybody, I do not support what or support or agree with what Bucker or Kaepernick did. But I think looking at it like from the law enforcement standpoint, guess what? It's not against the law to hurt someone's feelings or to do something that doesn't look right or looks unsafe, but there's no law against it and people are upset. It's like they don't like being told like, well, they shouldn't be able to do that. Well, they're not breaking any laws. They didn't do anything illegal. We don't just intervene because you don't like it or your feelings are hurt.
yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't Tim and Brooks comment saying siding with Kaepernick is unreal. Look at his stats his last year.
I don't know what his stats were. I don't know.
I have no idea either, but they probably weren't very good, but
He wasn't a great. I mean, he
only
was all right.
yeah. All right. Let's move on here. Let's go we're going to try this rapid fire comparison type here. So what we're going to do is we're kind of going to go back and forth here. So I'm going to give two athletes and then Stenda is going to he doesn't know which ones I'm giving him. He doesn't know I don't know what athletes he's given me to compare, and we're going to compare the athletes who's better type thing. Does that sound right, Cinda?
Yeah. How many you got?
I actually have 5 on here, but we don't have to do all 5.
No, I got. I just figure, well, I can go first and rapid fire you, and then you can rapid fire me, and then we could just go through it real quick and be like, "Hey, why'd you pick this guy?" Or
that sounds weird. Rapid fire me.
No, I'll do rapid fire. Go through it. Boom,
Gotcha.
then you go and yeah.
So are you asking me like all 5, or you're doing one, I'm doing one? Are we alternating? What are we doing here?
What do you think's bad? Do you think to just do it one by one?
Yeah, let's alternate.
All right, so I'll go first. I'll ask you first.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Sure.
Barry Larkin or Ozzie Smith?
Ooh. Ozzie Smith. Now I give you yours, and then we'll talk about them later.
Yep. Yeah, that's
fine. Terry Bradshaw, Ben Roethlisberger.
Ben Roethlisberger.
I knew you were going to say that.
Roger Clemens or Pedro Martinez?
Roger Clemens.
Okay.
Frank Thomas or Paul Konerko?
Frank Thomas.
I thought you were going to go the other way around.
Dan Marino or Drew Brees?
Dan Marino.
Ooh.
Tony Kukoc or Robert Ory?
Wow, that's a tough one.
That's a good one.
Robert Ory.
All right.
Chad Johnson or Randy Moss?
Randy Moss.
Okay.
Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu?
Wow. I got to take Troy Polamalu.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
all
I
right.
have to.
All right.
Kevin Garnett or Dirk Nowitzki?
Dirk.
Okay.
Brett Favre, Troy Aikman.
Oh, you got some tough ones here.
These are good.
Troy Aikman.
Okay. Is that it? Is that 5?
Yeah, dude, you had some
All
tough
right.
ones, man.
So the Terry Bradshaw Ben Roethlisberger one.
Okay.
So you have your 6-time Super Bowl champ flag right behind you there.
Yeah. He had
I think
four. I know he had
4 of
four.
those were Terry Bradshaw, right? And 2 were Big Ben. Yeah, stat wise, Big Ben is going to be better.
Yep.
But back in the 70s, they didn't throw as much as they did when Big
No.
Ben was going.
No.
And obviously, I mean, we didn't really see Bradshaw play, I guess, but
They were. I mean, well, their defense. You got to think like
the steel curtain.
Steel Curtain. Green and God, who was else there? Even offensively, like Webster and Jack Ham, all those guys. I mean, Lambert. Like, man.
Yeah.
I mean, two completely different eras. Um, especially just the way the quarterback got just demolished. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you look at, like you said, stat wise, look at um, Terry Bradshaw. I mean, his stats are nothing. They don't even think he had 30,000 passing yards. I think he had
Oh,
more
really?
interceptions. Yeah, I think he had more interceptions
I
than
don't know.
touchdown passes.
I don't know all Terry Bradshaw's stats like you, but I
Yeah,
didn't know. I thought that'd be an interesting one. I knew you'd say Big Ben, but
yeah, I'm taking
I
him though.
didn't
Yeah,
know
for
that.
sure.
I could have put any quarterback there, and you would have said Big Ben probably.
No, not anybody.
All right.
Um, so you took Ozzy over Barry, huh?
Yeah. I
Really?
that so I don't know. I mean Ozzie Smith probably a better defensive shortstop than Barry Larkin. Barry Larkin was good. Um, Larkin had a little more pop with the bat than Ozzy did. I don't know. I just went Ozzy. I
Yeah.
think they're pretty comparable careers probably if you really looked into it.
Yep.
Um, yeah,
Both played the shortstop position played it very well.
yeah, they did.
I'll give you that though. Barry had, I think he was better at the plate,
Yeah,
probably statistically. Um, hmm.
they kind of balance out. That was a good one.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought you were gonna go Konerko over the Big Hurt.
Well, I think the thing was with, Konerko, I still believe he's one of the best fastball hitters of all time. I mean, if you look at, home runs,
I
um,
looked up. I actually when I was thinking of, I knew you're a Sox fan, so I was thinking of like Sox players, and those are the first two that popped in my head, kind of same position. And then I looked up Konerko's stats. I didn't realize he had like 439 home runs.
yeah,
Like
dude,
I knew
he
he hit a
did.
lot, but
He hit a lot. I mean, obviously him and Frank both did it the right way. I think
yeah,
Frank was a better Paulie was not he didn't run the base as well, which, Frank Thomas, those guys didn't really need to. I think defensively, I think back, Konerko was, when he was playing the field, he did a good job at first. I think Thomas was probably a better first baseman than him. But yeah, I mean, I just like Paulie because I think he just did it right. And
yeah,
he had a good career, and he all around was a good player. But Frank Thomas, he had well over 500 home runs.
yeah. I think it was like 520 something if I remember right for
Was it?
Thomas. Yeah,
Yeah, you could
and I
play.
think he hit for average pretty decent too.
Yeah.
He probably was close to like in the 290s, maybe 300 around there.
Yeah, I think
I'd
Paulie was
say.
like maybe 279 career.
Yeah.
But
So
plus he hit off the back foot, remember?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
That's
do.
pretty impressive.
Yeah,
All right. So I figured you were going to take him, but you take Clemens over Pedro.
yeah, yeah. I think so. That's a good one too, because I mean, again, we don't have the stats or anything in front of us, but um, both kind of like power pitchers,
Yep.
Similar. Like, I mean, obviously Clemens is a lot bigger than Pedro, but pitching style wise is similar. Um, Clemens probably has more. Well, I don't know how many rings Pedro has. Does he have any?
I don't know if did he get any with the Red
I don't know
Sox?
if he did.
I don't know.
So then, Clemens has that advantage too. But yeah, I think Clemens. Roger Clemens baseball. Do you remember that game on Nintendo?
Yeah, yeah.
The original Nintendo. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a
hell
great game.
yeah. That's a great game.
Coach Ori one that I gave you.
Yeah, I took Ori.
Uh,
Well, he's won like
yeah,
what, 7 titles?
7 titles. He went to the playoffs every season he played in. 19 seasons, 19 playoffs.
Yeah.
But Kukoc, I mean, he has 3 rings.
Yep.
I think Kukoc probably averaged more points than Ori. If I had to guess, I didn't look it up. Because I think Kukoc averaged close to like 14 points a game.
Did he? Did he
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. Dude could play, man. Kukoc was a stud.
He did.
I bet he averaged close to 14 a game. And I bet Ori probably 10, maybe.
10.
I don't know. And it's not
Both
all about points, but
both really good definitely role players.
yeah,
You know,
they both normally came off the bench too.
yeah.
They were like 6 men usually. I know Kukoc was, Ori was a lot too. So
Ori
but
was a better defender.
yeah, probably.
I think he's a better defender.
Ori would just find himself on good teams, man.
Yeah,
Just be that role player.
that's right, man. Oh, Houston
Started with the
Rockets, baby.
Rockets, Spurs. I think he won some with the
Suns.
Lakers. Yeah, I mean he's
With the
just
Suns, yeah.
he's all over.
Oh, it's got water on my face. How about you took Moss over Chad Johnson?
Yeah, I think Moss is one of the greatest receivers of all time. So
I think. Do you think Chad was a better route runner than Moss?
Maybe. I mean, Randy was more of a deep threat guy, more of like a go post guy. But man, I don't know. I think Moss is faster than Johnson. Route runner, maybe, yeah, Johnson, but that's it. That's all he'd have him on.
Yeah. Well, like
I think Moss caught like over 120 touchdown passes or something silly like that.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, he was.
Lot.
I would take Moss. I mean, just like you said, deep threat, and he was so tall. He was so his length.
Yep.
I mean,
he could just. I mean, it was crazy how he could just get by those DBs so effortlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
Yep.
No rings though. No rings.
No rings. No rings.
They let him have it on that Tom Brady roast about that.
That's bogus, man.
And then the next one for you was Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, and you took Polamalu. I knew you'd probably do that. Ed Reed's the best safety of all time.
I think he definitely. I mean, he had double the interceptions that Polamalu had, but I know we've talked about this a little bit before. Polamalu played the line of scrimmage. Ed Reed did not play much of the line of scrimmage. He roamed that position, which gave him the ability to obviously go pick the balls off. Polamalu could cover, and he played the line of scrimmage, very like the line of scrimmage, dude. And I always thought that was his, at the end of the day, who am I? I guess I'd probably flip a coin for who I want, because I think they're both unbelievably physical. I think probably Ed Reed was more athletic, but Polamalu could play the line of, I mean, he could, and they've always been a heavy blitzing defense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and being a Steeler guy, I've taken, but at the end of the day, I don't know. We always got the best of them anyway, so it really didn't matter.
True. Yeah, I don't know. Ed Reed was just a dude, a dog.
He was a dog. And then KG and Dirk. You said you took Dirk?
I took Dirk. Yeah. That was a good one too. I think Dirk I think he did more with less on pretty much every team he was on.
Yep.
My opinion. I mean, the one year they beat the Heat in the NBA Finals when LeBron was on the Heat with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and I like right now I I don't think I can name another player on that Mavs team with Dirk. The only guy I can think of is like JJ Barrera. Like who's JJ? You know what I mean? Like no one knows who JJ Barrera is. But like I think he did did more with less, and was a scoring machine. Not that KG could score too, but Dirk was nasty at that. So
well, yeah, because he could shoot. He could shoot the 3 ball.
Oh yeah, and he had that fadeaway with the the leg kick and
KG probably his upper hand was he was a better defender. I mean, just stronger, and probably just more athletic. But yeah, I mean, again, talking about like finesse sport, kind of like, if you can shoot all day long like Dirk could.
Yeah, Dirk could play. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, good player.
And then my last one was for you was Brett Favre, Troy Aikman.
Yeah, I took the old Aikman.
Yeah. Because Aikman has what, 3 rings? They won 3 in a row, right? With them.
Yep.
And then I think Favre only has 1. Been to 2, won 1.
Yep.
And stat wise, Favre is going to have the upper hand because Troy Aikman had Emmitt Smith and would hand it off a lot. But yeah, that was an interesting comparison, I thought too. So
it's tough because, like you said, it's kind of like when you say like Ben and Bradshaw. It's hard to, like you said, 4 titles. I mean, look at longevity of those quarterbacks in the 70s and 80s. They're not playing 18, 20 years.
No,
they couldn't. And you put in put those guys in today's era where it's a passing league, who knows where they would stand.
Right.
So
yeah, good point.
Wait,
you had one more? Do you have one more?
I had that one for I had the Dan Marino and Breeze, wasn't
it? Yeah. I went Marino on that. And I know Breeze has 1 ring and Marino has 0, obviously, but I just think, I don't know. That's a good one because they both were great passers. Breeze was so accurate on his balls, but Marino, he really kind of started like the whole like gunslinging thing, and just would sling the ball all around, and still has some pretty good numbers even with the pass happy league that it's been the last 10 to 15 years or wherever we're at with it. So I went Marino over that. I know Breeze probably has more yards and touchdowns and all that than him, but I like Marino better.
Yeah, I take Marino.
Yeah.
That was a different era. Like I said, he never really had a run game, I don't think.
Not really. No. And he didn't really have any like big name receivers really either.
No.
But that dude could sling it.
He sling the rock, dude. I read it. There was a thing. I read a thing that he would like the linemen, like if they weren't blocking, the lineman would talk about how he would like grab them and he'd be cussing them out. And he's like, if you don't fucking block them, you're going to take the snaps at quarterback. I'll block them. I'm 225 pounds. You're 300 pounds. Like he'd just go ballistic on him. I think he was definitely it would have been nice to see him get a ring because he was very competitive.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that was good. I like that little switch up there. It's good stuff.
We'll switch up, baby.
Should we get into tier talk here?
Yeah. You just want to end with that?
Yep. Let's do it. So our tier talk this week is we're picking athletes that we would want to athletes that would be in our foursome for golf. So he obviously would be included in that foursome. So would you like to go first, JP, or do you want me to go?
No, you go.
All right. So the guys I chose here, I did a little switching up on it when we talked about this previous. We were pretty much spot on from each other. So first one I got is John Daly.
JD, baby.
obviously, I mean, he is a good golfer, can drive the crap out of it. He's a pretty funny guy. He also likes to have a good time, drinking beers and Diet Cokes and smoking heaters on the golf course,
Yeah,
So,
baby. Let's
I
do
mean,
it.
I'm not really into the smoking heater part, but
You're not?
no, could maybe drink some beverages with them and play some golf. So he also could probably give me some tips on my golf game as well, because that can always use some help as well. Number 2, I went Peyton Manning.
Peyton.
Peyton Manning, yeah, I'm a big Peyton Manning guy. And one of the reasons why is I think obviously he has a great brain for football. And then when you're on the golf course, obviously you can also talk to the people you're with, they're sitting in the cart with them and stuff. So I'd pick his brain about football and get stuff from him that way. And he just seems like a good dude and a funny guy and be fun to hang with. Number 1, I went with Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh.
This is just kind of like a dream, like a kind of like a man crush thing, because he's my favorite player of all time. And
Yeah.
I'm a lefty. He's a lefty. If you've ever seen his golf swing, it's about as sweet as his baseball swing, smooth as that as well. So just be cool to hang out with my idol and golf with him. So that's why I chose him.
He had the best. He's by far still has the best baseball swing of all time.
I would agree. Yeah, just I appreciate that swing every time I see it. This is beautiful.
Man, he could just, and God, he's just so strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and especially he hit like the outside pitch. He just drive it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. I mean,
And it always looked like he had like the longest bat
yes,
ever, which I mean, I know he probably didn't, but it's just the way, just kind of his stance and the way he swung the bat. I don't know. Love the guy.
I like your list.
Yeah, thanks. A little different.
I'm going to say legendary.
Oh,
that's a legendary. Yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with any of those guys.
Yeah, that'd be a fun group for sure.
A lot of wins, a lot of money, a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm by far the worst golfer.
Well, you can't be worse than me.
I don't know. I've never seen you play, man. I just played this morning.
I know. I saw your snaps, man.
Yeah.
I like you getting out there competing even on your days off.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Got to do something to keep the competitive juices going.
That's right, man. All right. My list. Number 3, Barry Bonds.
Okay.
I went Barry Bonds. And, I know he's kind of an arrogant guy, which I like that about him. But I just would love to see how far he could hit a golf ball.
Yeah. He could probably smoke one.
Could you imagine like just the right swing? I mean, he hit a baseball. When I saw him hit that ball against the Angels like 20 years ago, and that Tim Salmon's in the dugout, and he's like, "Oh my God, that's the furthest ball I've ever seen hit in my life."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
he could smoke a ball, I'm sure.
So he'd just be cool just to probably watch him be kind of cocky and arrogant, but you got to have that to be hit 700 plus home runs. Number 2, Michael Jordan. Probably more say because of his competitive drive and, all the stories, you read about him and how competitive he was off the field as well as on, obviously, you'd see on the court. But honestly, I'd love to see him golf and drink the 12, 14 Bud Lights that he's been known to drink and then go play in a basketball game and drop 50 points in the finals.
Yeah. Probably doesn't even faze him drinking that many beers.
No.
You also would lose all your money because he always gambled too.
Yeah.
Like when he was on the golf course.
Yeah, he was all kinds of that story with the Bud Lights was that, remember Jeremy Roenick?
Yeah. The Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said that was the story it came from MJ's like, hey, let's go play. And they did like 9 holes. And he's like, hey, I'm doing another 9. And Jeremy's like, dude, you play tonight. And he's like, dude, I'll be fine. And it was a playoff. And he said he drank like 12 or 14. And then they played 18 holes of golf. And Jordan goes out, and I think he dropped like 50 points that game.
It's wild.
So I just like to see if he could do it.
I'm sure he could. He maybe not drop 50 points in an NBA game anymore, but
yeah,
I'm sure he could play 18 holes and drink 14 beers.
Yeah. Be nothing for him.
Yeah.
Yep. And then old number one saying that, John Daly.
Yeah.
Just like you said, I've always intrigued by Tanner Weber had a couple of comments. 8 Diet Cokes, pack of cigarettes, 6 Snickers.
Jeez.
And diet. I just think the party aspect, that would just be fun to be like, he's like, dude, we're slamming beers all day, dude. Keep up. And I'm like, all right, man, it's go time.
You wouldn't be able to drink your Voodoo Rangers.
I don't know.
John Daly.
No. The paramedics would be picking me up.
You'd be drinking Keystones with Mitch.
Oh man. I can't stoop to that level, brother. I can't do it. If Mitch is watching, God bless your soul, brother.
Yeah. I love it. You're my word for your list. That's epic right there. Epic list.
Bonds Jordan Daly. I like
it. We could we could get your foursome, my foursome together and hit a course up, go to Preston, Plum River, or Valley Oaks, and get the guys together.
Old P-Town do some
That's where we played Preston this morning. So.
Did you?
Yeah.
You get some Gino's pizza?
No, we did not.
No.
We did not.
I love that place.
Gino's? I think I've only been there once.
Really?
I was there to watch. I went with Mitch to watch softball. Right there, that field there. But I mean, I've had Gino's before, but not at Gino's, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. All right, man. You got anything else you want to end on before we sign off here?
No, man. I think, I had a good time, dude. It's kind of nice to do solo once in a while.
Yeah. It's a good change of pace for sure. I liked it too. We just kept it going, had good conversation. Maybe lost a follower or two, but maybe also gained a couple. Who knows? We'll see.
I've been checking. I think we're good.
All right, cool.
We're good right now, man.
Sounds good. We'll see. We'll see when more people watch it later in the week. See what happens. But
dude, I'm not listening anymore.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody that commented on the podcast today and that keep commenting. We appreciate you guys listening. Also, I didn't thank the people at the beginning, but all the guests that we've had so far have been awesome. Thank everyone for willing to take some time out of their Sunday nights to join us. So we'll keep it coming as long as we got people watching and commenting and liking and following. And we'll see you soon. Peace.
Next Sunday. Holla.
Yeah.